not a lot of people get into copyright stuff in a simple, easy to understand fashion. That's what we do here. So let me give you a little what it is kind of shit. All right. When you make a song, there's two parts for the song, right? There's the underlying work. In other words, there's the melody within that song. Maybe it has lyrics, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. The moment you created it, you own it. It's yours. The person who created it, that's called writing a song. It makes you a composer. It makes you the guy who owns it, the publishing of that. Now, when it's put on a CD or a tape or a vinyl record or an MP3 or a wave, it doesn't matter. The art of creating that, putting that together into the form where you can hear it, is the sound recording. So this side, it exists without even being recorded. The fact that you wrote the song exists a thing that you own 100% of so far, whoever created it. And then this side, there's another side for the same song that's another pie equal to 100% that you would own if you are the person who created and owns this sound recording. So whatever for that song, the underlying work, once it became something you could listen to, the way that sounds, that itself, that's called a master recording, and that right there is the sound recording. Now, when you copyright stuff, you go to uscopyright.gov. It's a copyright site, just copyright.gov, I think, is it. And what that is the Library of Congress stores a record of what you give them. They're just a file storage place. They don't check against anything that's coming in or out or whatever. It's just storing files. But it's important that when you write a song, you give them your song. They got to put your files in there because the fact that you created it means you own it. But once you put the files in there, then there's a record in there that will make your journey easy if you ever have to prove that you did write this and no one else did. So whenever anybody's like worried about, I don't know about sending you my, stems, my song, my this or that, I'm worried, I want you to mix it or master it, but I'm worried about people stealing my stuff. I always think this is just a not understanding how this works. Once you write the song, you go get it copywritten. You send them the stuff. You fill out the form. It's cheaper when you do a group of songs at once. And then you never have to worry about this because this worry, this fear exists no matter who listens to your song. Is somebody working in the business maybe is a threat to you, but somebody who just hears it on the street could also be a threat to you. And if you're playing it in your car, there's just as good a shot of anything. So it's you might as well get it copywritten the second you do it. When it's done, you copyright the underlying work, which is the PA form. That's what the form you would get to copyright that. But if you've never made the sound recording copyright yet, you could also copyright the sound recording form. And then they basically, I think what they're doing today is they basically give you, they do a PA form kind of retroactively for you. Because they'll tell you if you haven't copywritten, if you're copywriting both the sound recording and the underlying work, then choose this form. And I believe that's the SR form, which stands for sound recording. And that's the one that retroactively gets you both now. But historically, and you could still do both, I think, but the way they want you to do it, I think, is that other way. So just follow the freaking instructions. You know what I'm saying? This ain't where you go for the instructions. This is the intel. So you understand what the hell's going on. That's what this is. On this side, PA form, underlying work. This side, SR form, sound recording. The guy who creates that, so the music owns the entirety of that PA form, right? But check it out. Once you're selling your beat now or your instrumental or whatever, you get a guy who comes along and leases it from you or buys it exclusively, the rights to use it. That's all exclusive means. It means the right to use it. We're going to do another video on this in a second. But once they do lease it from you, whatever, all they're doing is leasing the right to use it. But they don't own the underlying work unless you give them with a transfer of rights and signing the freaking thing. signing, it's got to be in writing. You got to sign it. You give away your publishing. Nobody would do that either. Don't do that. I don't recommend doing that. But you understand the point. You own it once you create it. You get it copywritten so that there's a provable document that says you own it, and that's the PA form. On the other side, you also copyright the sound recording, the SR form, and like I said, you could possibly do the sound recording, and it gives you both now. Follow the instructions, and then you'll own the sound recording also. Now, when you lease it, you're leasing the sound recording side. That's what you're leasing. And if an artist comes along who adds to it, like the vocals or whatever, you're basically going to be splitting the other side with them too, because now people are buying, like, let's say the song gets huge. Okay, great, that's awesome, but they contributed because they got their vocals on it, and their vocals are contributing to this amazingness. That's 50%. You made the music. You're 50% of that PA form side. See, of that underlying work side, you're each 50-50. But on this other side, the sound recording side, it's whatever deal you cut with them. But as a producer, generally, there's a stipulation today where people are like, we should be doing a 25% deal, let's say, because that equivocates. No. It's equivalent to an old school deal where the major label gets 80% and the artist only gets 16%. So back in those days, the producer would get 4%, and 4% of 16 is 25%. So the common way you could think about it is 25% today may be normal if the artist is acting as their own label, and something more like 33% could be normal if you're getting very little for the exclusive, for the rights for them to use it, and something as little as 4% would maybe fine for you if you're getting a ton up front, thousands and thousands, 10, 20, 15,000, whatever you negotiate, whatever you think the beat is worth, 3,000, 5, 10, whatever. What the market's willing to pay is what it's worth, and what you set, you could figure out what the market's willing to pay for what you got. But the point is, you're setting that, and you're also getting a producer royalty on the sound recording side. You're also going to own your publishing on the underlying work side. 50% of the publishing will always belong to you unless you sign those rights away. Never do that unless they're paying for everything up front and you're willing to do it. You're so desperate you're willing to do it. There's no reason you should do it. I don't believe it's ever a good idea, because that's what will make money. If, let's say, they decide to make a T-shirt and put the sheet music on the T-shirt. Well, guess what? One of the things covered under the PA form, which you own 50% of the song on, you'll get paid on that publishing. So you don't want to do anything other than maintain that, because if somebody re-records the song, that sound recording may not be the thing that's going to make money. It's going to be the publishing side, the underlying work that got covered by some other artist who's more modern, some other producer who redoes the thing, whatever it is, they redo it. You still make money because it's your song. You own the underlying work, 50% at least. This is stuff that makes sense. And you got to sort of realize that if people don't understand this, it's really their fault, because nowhere does it say you must understand this to play this game. People rely on you not understanding this stuff and taking advantage of you. So the fact that I'm telling you this stuff means there's information out there that you got to know, or you're going to wind up giving your rights away and not realizing what should be coming to you, and thinking it's a gift when somebody says, "Oh, I'll give you 50% of the publishing," and they think it's like a great thing. That's what it's supposed to be. You got to know this stuff, or you will be taken advantage of if you don't. So that's why you're here. Custom Cut Studios, we got you. So stick around, more shit to come. Take it easy.